Hoy tenemos con nosotros a Christiane Bode. Christiane es profesora de estrategia en Imperial College en Londres. Christiane, thank you very much for being with us. Christiane, you have done fascinating work looking at the impact that involving employees on social initiatives in the organization can actually have in the company overall. For example, you find that when companies involve employees in social initiatives, they can actually foster employee retention. But very interesting, you find that implementation of these policies actually may affect the impact that involving employees have. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Thank you. That's very kind of you and an excellent question. So I think the first consideration probably is finding that sweet spot between what is actually good for society, what employees actually value, and then what translates into the firm. So concretely, it might make sense to start thinking about what type of project do you want to actually do, a social project, an environmental project, and it will depend, of course, on what the firm's core mission actually is. Then thinking a little bit about in terms of length and also location might make sense. And sort of, I think the same truth holds it always does, where the project length has to actually work with what the goal of the project is. So it can be very tempting to say, let's do a quick sort of weekend project, do something quick and easy, and that might work, but really, usually we need more time. The project actually has to create some social impact. And that's, of course, the whole idea here. But also, if it doesn't, employees are not going to walk away thinking, well, this was a meaningful experience, right? I'm satisfied with this. I've actually created value. And so that's not going to translate into benefits for the firm either, right? So I think it's quite important to think about it in that sense. Also, in terms of the type of project, we want this to be a learning experience. Usually it is the kind of thing, we throw people out there, learn something new, apply themselves. And I think that's important, but we also got to make sure they can do the work. Right? So we don't want them to be in a situation where they have one set of skills and now this is some kind of social impact project and it might be inspiring, there might be this big social problem, but if they can't help solve it, again, how are they going to walk away ultimately feeling good about themselves? And I think especially in a sort of developed market context, many people like to go to kind of far away, more emerging markets, also thinking, well, here we can create amazing impact. But often they don't really understand how the country works, what the real roots of the problem are. So it's very difficult for them to actually come in and create that impact. So they're going to walk away from that rather perhaps frustrated than fulfilled. And again, that's then not going to benefit the firm. So really thinking about, yes, a stretch, but there has to be this possibility to actually solve the problem, have actually impact society positively. And then the last point, I think, which is really important, it's something I've been looking at recently, is, it's nice to encourage people to go do these things, but we have to be really careful what happens when they come back. Have we actually thought about is this a KPI? Is this feeding into the processes, the structures of the firm? Because if people come back and now they're not being evaluated positively, or this feeds negatively into their promotion, as we have seen in some firms, not because people hate social impact work, but just rather they don't understand. Now I have this employee coming back and I'm considering promotions and this person has been, away doing other things. There's ambiguity, and so we just have to make sure there isn't. That these considerations of social impact work actually make it into structures, processes around promotion and evaluation.
Yeah, this is an excellent observation. Thank you so much, Christiane, for sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.